Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope you all are doing well. So I welcome you all to your GK class, and today we'll do chapter number 1 of your GK books, that is protected areas. In this video we'll learn about the meaning of protected areas, categories of protected areas, and 8 major protected areas in India. And in the end we'll do one exercise. So let's get started and let's learn about the meaning of protected areas first of all. Protected areas are those in which human occupation, or at least the exploitation of resources, that is natural resources, is limited. The International Union for Conservation of Nature defined a protected area as a clearly defined geographical space recognized, dedicated, and managed through legal or other effective means to achieve the long-term conservation of nature with associated ecosystem services and cultural values. Actually, there are several kinds of protected areas which vary by level of protection depending upon the enabling laws of each country or the regulations of the international organizations involved. In India, there are 4 categories of the protected areas, that is national parks, sanctuaries, conservation reserves, and community reserves. Apart from this, India also has biosphere reserves and tiger reserves. So now let's learn about the meaning of these categories. So first of all, let's learn about the meaning of national park. A national park is an area with enough ecological, geomorphological, and natural significance with rich fauna and flora, which is designed to protect and to develop wildlife or its environment. There are 104 existing national parks in India covering an area of 43,716 km, which is 1.33% of the geographical area of the country. And in addition to the above, 75 national parks covering an area of 16,608 km are proposed in the Protected Area Network report. Activities like grazing, hunting, forestry, or cultivation, etc., are strictly prohibited, and no human activity is permitted inside the national park except for the ones permitted by the Chief Wildlife Warden of the state. Now let's learn about the meaning of wildlife sanctuary. Actually, the difference between a sanctuary and a national park mainly lies in the vesting of rights of people living inside. Unlike a sanctuary, where certain rights can be allowed, in a national park, no rights are allowed. No grazing of any livestock is permitted inside a national park, while in a sanctuary, the chief wildlife warden may regulate, control, or prohibit it. At present, there are 566 wildlife sanctuaries in India covering an area of 122,420 km, which is 3.72% of the geographical area of the country. Another 218 sanctuaries are proposed in the Protected Area Network report covering an area of 16,829 km. Now let's learn about the meaning of conservation reserves and community reserves. Actually, these two terms denote the protected areas of India, which typically act as buffer zone or connectors and migration corridors between established national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and reserved and protected forests of India. Actually, it provides a flexible system wherein the wildlife conservation is achieved without compromising the community needs. And if we talk about conservation reserve, it's an area owned by the state government adjacent to the national parks and sanctuaries for protecting the landscape, seascape, and habitat of flora and fauna. And it is managed through a conservation reserve management committee. There are 97 existing conservation reserves in India covering an area of 44,483 kilometers, which is 0.14% of the geographical area of the country. And if we talk about community reserve, the state government may notify any community land or private land as a community reserve, provided that the members of that community or individuals concerned are agreeable to offer such area for protecting the flora and fauna, as well as their traditions, cultures, and practices. Basically, the declaration of such an area as community reserve is aimed at improving the socio-economic conditions of the people living in such areas animals as well as conserving wildlife. The reserve is managed through a community reserve management committee. And there are 214 existing community reserves in India covering an area of 1302 kilometer, which is 0.04% of the geographical area of the country. So now we'll learn about 8 major national parks and sanctuaries in India, which are Corbett National Park, Kaziranga Wildlife Sanctuary, Kanha National Park, Manas National Park, Gir National Park, Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary, Namdapha National Park, and Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary. So let's start with Corbett National Park first of all. Corbett National Park, which is also known as Jim Corbett National Park, can be undoubtedly called the paradise of tigers for the fact that it holds a large population of tigers in its breathtaking landscapes that consists of different varieties of flora and fauna. This park was established in August 8, 1936 and named after the governor of the United Provinces, Sir Malcolm Halley, as Halley National Park. Corbett National Park is undoubtedly one of the most beautiful parks in North and Central India. It is also India's first national park. In 1952, the park's name was changed to Ramganga National Park, and in 1957, the park was renamed yet again, and this time it was renamed after Jim Corbett, the famous hunter, author, photographer, and naturalist. The Corbett National Park is also the venue from where Project Tiger was launched on April 1, 1973. This national park is a home to more than 650 endangered species of birds and other animals, elephants, and 4 to 5 species of deer. The park is known as the home of the white tiger, even though white tigers no longer exist here. The magical landscape, the sighting of tigers, elephants, and the most varied wildlife makes it fascinating to visit. It is a wonderful place in India, considered as a hub of excitement and thrill. So now let's learn about the second national park, that is Kaziranga National Park. Kaziranga National Park is one of the prides of India. It is the place where the nature unwinds its natural and fresh form in millions of hues, where wildlife roams fearlessly, where man and nature meets together. This prestigious National Park of India is situated in the northeastern part of the country in the district of Golaghat and Nagaon in the state of Assam. Actually, Kaziranga National Park lies partly in Golaghat district and partly in Nagaon district of Assam. It is the oldest park in Assam, covers an area of 430 square kilometers along the river Brahmaputra on the north and the Karbi Anglong Hills on the south. This popular national park is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site and houses two-thirds of the total world population of greater one-horned rhinoceros. And apart from the one-horned rhinos, the national park that sprawls in an area of 430 square kilometer also boasts high density of tigers and a large breeding ground for elephants, swamp deer, and wild water buffaloes. The national park is also recognized an important bird area, that is IBA, making it not only an ideal wildlife sighting destination in India but a bird watcher's paradise as well. So now let's learn about the third national park, that is the Kanha National Park. The Kanha National Park in Madhya Pradesh came into being in 1955 and forms the core of the Kanha Tiger Reserve, created in 1974 under Project Tiger. The park's landmark achievement is the preservation of the rare hard-ground swamp deer, that is Barasingha, saving it from near extinction. Actually, the strict conservation programs for the overall protection of the park's flora and fauna makes Kanha one of the most well-maintained national parks in Asia. And do you know that bamboo forests, grassy meadows and ravines of Kanha provided inspiration to Rudyard Kipling for his famous novel Jungle Book? The main attraction within the park is Bamni Dadar, popularly known as Sunset Point, that offers the most awe-inspiring backdrop of the sunset against grazing sambhars and gorse, magnifying the natural splendor of the area. And aside from its diverse wildlife and bird population, the frequent sightings of tigers roaming in the wild at Kanha Wildlife Sanctuary remain the most popular draw. So now let's learn about the fourth national park, that is Manas National Park. Located in the Himalayan foothills in western Assam, Manas was originally a game reserve since 1928 and became a tiger reserve in 1974. It became a World Heritage Site in 1985 and a Biosphere Reserve in 1989. Then it was declared as a national park in 1990. Spread over an area of 500 square kilometers, the park has extensive grasslands and is famous for its unique scenic beauty. The park harbors more than 20 endangered species. Now let's learn about the fifth national park, that is Gir National Park. The Gir National Park is an important wildlife destination in India which has gained an immense popularity among wildlife enthusiasts, photographers, nature lovers, researchers, and hunters. Being the only destination to spot the Asiatic lions in India, it keeps on attracting travelers from varied parts of the world. From the wildlife perspective, Gir National Park holds an important place in the list of the favorite wildlife destination for passionate wildlife explorers. Located in the famous district of Gujarat, Junagadh, Gir National Park is a big wildlife reserve and sanctuary in India. The main attraction of this park is the most endangered Asiatic lions. Gir National Park was founded in 1965 in a total area of 3,386 square kilometers. So now let's learn about Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary. In the banks of Periyar Lake lays the pride of Kerala, the Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary and National Park. The sanctuary, which borders with Tamil Nadu, is located in Cardamom and Pandalam hills in the western Ghats. The wildlife sanctuary is also famous for its tiger reserve and elephant reserve. Out of the total protected area of 925 square kilometer, the 350 square kilometer was declared as a national park in the year 1982. Often this park is addressed as either Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary or Tekadi. And if you really want to enjoy an encounter with the majestic Bengal tigers or the massive mammoths, you must visit the wildlife abode called the Periyar National Park. So now let's learn about the next national park, that is Namdappa National Park. One of the most exotic biodiversity hotspots in the eastern Himalayas, the Namdappa National Park offers a wide range of habitats ranging from tropical rainforests to coniferous forests to alpine grasslands to snow-covered peaks. It is the only national park in the world which is home to 4 species of big cats, that is, the tiger, the leopard, the clouded leopard, and the elusive snow leopard. Namdappa was established as a wildlife sanctuary in 1972 and it was declared a tiger reserve and national park in 1983. Now let's learn about Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary. Amongst one of the finest bird sanctuaries on the planet, Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, also called as Kuladeo Ghana National Park, is a sanctuary that offers security to faunal species also. The Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary in Rajasthan, India, is famous sanctuary that sees thousands of rare and highly endangered birds such as the Siberian crane. Over 230 species of birds are known to have made the national park their home. It was declared a protected sanctuary in 1971 and also declared a World Heritage Site. So these were the 8 famous national parks and sanctuaries in India, and now we'll do one exercise that is given on page number 6 of your GK books. So here you have to write the name of the animals beside the name of the parks and sanctuaries. One help box is also given. So let's start doing this exercise. So the first one is Kaziranga Wildlife Sanctuary. And I hope you all remember that one-horned rhinoceros are protected and conserved in this sanctuary. Alright. So the answer of first one is one-horned rhinoceros. The second is Namdappa National Park, and leopards are protected and conserved in this park. Okay. The next one is Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, and here Siberian cranes are protected and conserved. Okay. The next one is Corbett National Park, and I hope you all remember that it is also known as Jim Corbett National Park. So, in this park, white tigers are protected and conserved. However, white tigers are no longer here, but it is famous for protecting and conserving white tiger. The next one is Manas National Park, and here elephants are protected and conserved. The next one is Gir National Park, and it is famous for protecting Asiatic lions. Okay. The seventh one is Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary, and here tigers are protected and conserved. And the last one, Kanha National Park, here also tigers are protected and conserved. So this was all about the protected areas and the exercise given in your book. So you all have to write the answers of this in your books in a neat and clean handwriting. So this is all for today, and we'll meet once again in a new video with a new topic. Till then, take care all of you, stay home, stay safe, and thank you so much for watching.